Hi everyone and welcome back to Porto. Last week we focused on all the great food spots here in Porto, and this week we're going to focus on Porto's real claim to fame, Porto FC. Port wine.
We're going to try a couple of the port wine houses here, including one where we can try a wine that's over 80 years old, which I'm really excited about. And don't worry, if you don't like port wine, we will also tell you about some of the good places to drink some Douro Valley, regular table wine, as well as cocktails, beer, and some snacks to go along with it.
And if you're new here, we're Alex and Mehmet, and we travel the world looking for the best food spots and most dog-friendly places, but a lot of the port houses don't allow dogs, so this week, not much of Bindi this week.
The port wine houses are located just across the river from Porto in the town of Vila Nova de Gaia. You can stay in Porto and walk across the bridge or vice versa. And once you're in Vila Nova de Gaia, it's easy to walk between the different port houses.
We are excited to be heading to our first port wine tasting. We're going to a place called Poças. We picked this spot for a number of reasons. They focus a lot on sustainability, so they do things like having cows graze their fields instead of using pesticides, and really like to support places like that, so I can't wait to taste it.
I didn't know that.
Poças is also one of the few port houses that remain completely Portuguese owned and operated. Our guide was full of energy and had a real passion for port wine. He gave us a brief walkthrough of the port making process, as well as an introduction into some of the unique things they make here, such as their vermouth. Then he led us into a really large and nice tasting room to try a few of their wines. We chose the basic tasting package here, which meant we mostly tasted their younger, less complex wines. While these weren't the most interesting wines, they gave us a good baseline to compare for future tastings.
We are now heading to Quinta, Bom Dia. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. And we've been having such a good time tasting all these different port wines, so I'm very excited about this one. And I think this is also Portuguese owned, right?
Yep.
Yeah, let's see what they got.
Quinta Bom Dia offers tours as well as the ability to just stop in and taste what interests you. We enjoyed just sitting in the cozy tasting room, chatting with one of the really helpful workers who gave us great recommendations while we sipped on some of their older ports. Compared to some of the younger ports that we had already tried, these older ones at Quinta Bom Dia really allowed us to taste the differences and understand how port wine's complexities really start to show more with age. These felt smoother and more flavorful.
Of course, Portugal has some great wines that aren't port. One thing I've never heard of or tried before coming here is called green wine, or Vinho Verde. So we are here at the market on the Vila Nova de Gaia side, and we've got 2 glasses of green wine to try. So green wine doesn't actually refer to the color, it refers to the youngness of the wines. These are very young wines. You can definitely taste that. Like, it's super crisp, quite acidic, not very sweet, but really refreshing.
Well, cheers. Şerefe in Turkish. Oh wow, that is very young, I guess, yeah. Very interesting taste. It's nice though, it's very light. It's like an easygoing wine. I like it.
Another great thing about coming to the market for a glass of wine is that they have plenty of tables outside, so Bindi could join us. Also, there are tons of food stalls inside, so you can grab something to eat along with your wine.
I just got a burger. It has an egg in it, as well as some fried onions. So I'm excited to try this. Let's see how it goes. It is very big.
Everything here seems to have an egg on it.
Oh wow! Look how much that egg is. I did not realize. Woo! That's actually much fresher than I thought it was going to be. I love eggs. No, really nice.
And if you're looking for more great food in Porto, be sure to check out last week's video where we cover everything from Portuguese classics to the best brunch in town. Another spot to have some snacks and try some more Portuguese wine is Piano. Personally, we didn't love the wines that we tried here, but we did have an excellent cheese plate.
We are heading to our tasting at Caves Vasconcellos. I'm very excited for this one because we are supposed to be able to taste an 80-year-old port, which is something like we've never tasted before, never really even seen before.
That's older than both of our ages combined.
Yeah, so we're super excited to try that.
This tasting was truly a luxurious experience. We started with their 20-year-old white port, then switched to red, working our way up from a 30 to a 40 to a 50, and finally the very exciting 80-year-old port. The 80-year-old one was really special. The taste was so concentrated, yet it kept the sweetness and nutty caramelized notes that you can taste in really good port wine. I honestly don't know if we'll ever experience a taste like that ever again.
Oof, it is a bit rainy. So that tasting was seriously amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah, they were so friendly. They sat down with us, and that 80-year-old port. Oh my God! Like, I liked port wine, but it is a game changer. I think it was premium tasting.
Yeah, it's expensive. It was 145 euros.
Worth every penny.
But it's a private tour. It's a bit of an exclusive place, so they don't just like put their tours on their website. You have to email them. And it was high quality. It was
Yes, it's crazy. Like, we've tasted some wine in our life, but absolutely nothing like this. If you're not a wine lover, Portugal also has a huge beer culture, and it's pretty typical to have a pint of beer with your lunch or any of your meals. So with that being said, we're gonna go to a place called Base Porto to get some beer.
Base Porto is a really cool, casual beer garden type of spot where you can sit outside, grab a drink, and enjoy some music. And it's another dog-friendly place, which we love.
We have one more port tasting before we leave Porto, so we're heading to that now, and it's called Augustos.
While we've enjoyed exploring all of the port producers that we visited, we found the tour Augustos to be the most informative one. Here, we got a much clearer and more detailed explanation of the history of port, the process, and the differences between different types and styles of port wine. We also loved tasting the wines here and found them to be really great quality. We couldn't leave without buying a bottle to bring back home.
So we just left Augustos. It was actually really good. I really liked it, and I'm very happy that we went.
It's a really informative tour. Also, they don't export at all outside of Portugal, which is really interesting. So you can only try those wines here, and it's really nice.
Yeah, they said they only make 35,000 to 40,000 bottles a year, and they said that larger ones, like larger houses, make those per day.
Before wrapping up our days of tasting in Porto, there were just a few more interesting things we wanted to try.
So we're trying some other interesting drinks from here in Porto. This is a Porto tonic, so it's port mixed with tonic, like a gin tonic but with port. Oh, that's quite nice. It's really refreshing.
Yeah?
Yeah, a little bit sweet, but really nice.
Alright, so I got Panecha. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's supposed to be 7-Up with beer. It's reddish pink, so maybe the 7-Up is fruity. So let's see. Definitely tastes like beer. Honestly, it tastes like beer. Not bad. It's definitely like a Pilsner. Aftertaste, you can definitely get like the 7-Up and the fruitiness. It's not bad.
Porto definitely has a lot to explore, both in terms of food and drinks. As expected, most port producers don't allow dogs, but places like the market and base where you can enjoy a drink outside are great options if you have a dog along with you. Thanks for watching. We always appreciate a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Next week, we're off to one of the world's ultimate food destinations, the Basque Country. From legendary pinchos to a cheesecake that some claim is the best in the world, we can't wait to share this one with you. Be sure to subscribe. We promise you won't want to miss it.